Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gold Seek. Today we have an interview with Newcore Gold. Newcore Gold will be presented by Luke Alexander. This is an example of what to ask junior mining companies during interviews and is part of our ongoing education in the natural resource sector investment. Junior mining companies look forward to hearing from investors and would-be investors. This is part of my journey in the world of natural resource investing. It's actually the first of such interviews I have ever done. Definitely provide me feedback on the questions asked. If there were questions that you thought should have been asked that were not asked, please put it in the comment section. Please like and share my video so that it will be of benefit to anyone who is wanting to take natural resource investing serious. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gold Seek. I'm your host, Abbas Abubakar Bigilaze. Joining us today is Luke Alexander. Luke Alexander is the CEO of Newcore Gold. Newcore Gold is a junior mining company operating in Ghana. It's listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange, as well as the OTC market for US investors. We will be discussing about Newcore Gold's progress on its activities in Ghana. With that, I hand over to Luke.
Yeah, hi Abbas, and hi everyone who's listening in today. I'll give a short presentation on Newcore, and then I think Abbas probably has some questions that he'd like to discuss on the back of the presentation. First thing I will highlight is that we will be making some forward-looking statements, so I'd encourage anyone to go to our website and read the disclaimer. And while you're there, we also put out a lot of very good content on social media, whether it's Twitter or LinkedIn or our YouTube channel. So I'd encourage those listening who want to learn more about Newcore to follow us on those different platforms. We've had very good feedback from investors and prospective investors. As Abbas mentioned, we are an exploration company in Ghana. We've got the Enchi project. It's a district scale exploration project that we are currently pushing forward, and we've got the largest ever drill program on the project. A few things that differentiate Newcore from other companies out there. We've got a management team, first of all, with a proven track record of making a lot of shareholders money. We are very well supported by institutional investors. These are very large investors who are dedicated to the mining sector. We currently have about 40% institutional ownership. We're also very well aligned from a management and board perspective. Management and insiders currently own 27% of the business, so we ultimately think as shareholders first. Ghana is a tier 1 jurisdiction, and we'll talk about the reasons we feel that's the case. We've currently got a 1.4 million ounce resource, and that's a very good resource for us to be building off of. We did put out a PEA in June of 2021, which outlined a very robust project, and we're in the midst of the largest ever drill program on our Enchi project, 90,000 meters, and we'll talk about that in some more detail. In terms of my background, I spent the first 15 years of my career on the investment banking side of the business. 12 of those years I was in London advising ASX, TSX, London listed mining companies on different transactions around the world. A number of those projects were in Africa, so very familiar with Africa. And these are a number of the companies that our team has been involved in, and they're all very successful companies over the years. We've also got very strong VP exploration, Greg Smith. He's got over 35 years of experience, a lot of it in these greenstone hosted deposits around the world. And then our country manager, Dan Wilson, he's been working on our Enchi project. He's Ghanaian. He's been working on the project with us for the past 10 years and has worked on it for over 25 years with different companies. So very strong in-country, in-country team. ESG is something that's very important for us at Newcore. Our view is that all stakeholders should benefit from a project. As a result, we are trying to adhere to as many of the UN Sustainable Development Goals that are appropriate for an exploration stage company, as well as within our local communities. We're very active, whether it's upgrading schools, installing water wells within the local communities, donating to local hospitals and other groups. Those are all things that we do in country at our Enchi project. COVID, something that obviously is very important for us as well. And we do have all the kind of policies and procedures in place to make sure that all of our employees, as well as local communities, remain safe from that perspective. In terms of the capital structure, as Abbas mentioned, we are listed on the TSX, and we also trade on the OTCQX in the US. We've got about 120 million shares outstanding and no warrants. As I mentioned, about 27% owned by management insiders, so very well aligned with shareholders. We've currently got about 40% institutional ownership. This is a few of the groups who are currently large shareholders of Newcore. And then we're also very well backed from the investment banking community. We've currently got 5 tier 1 investment banks out of Toronto covering us from a research perspective, and those analysts have different target prices on our stock. We've been very busy in the last 6 months putting results out to the market, and that's something that we will continue to do as we push the company forward. Ghana, it is a tier 1 jurisdiction. It is Africa's largest gold producer, and it's the 6th largest gold producer globally. So with that, you get a huge amount of skilled labor in country. It's also very important for the economy. It's important for the tax base. It's important for jobs in country. So all of those things align the government with the gold mining industry in Ghana. In terms of some of the other companies who are operating in Ghana, you've currently got 4 of the top 10 largest gold producers who are operating in Ghana. Those include Newmont, Kinross, Gold Fields, Anglo Gold. So I think the fact that you have 4 of the top 10 largest gold producers again speaks to what a great jurisdiction Ghana is to be operating in. And at Newcore, we're very fortunate to have amassed such a large exploration project in country. Newmont, who's on the Sefwi-Bibiani belt to the north of us, they currently have 14% of their global production coming from Ghana. They are in the process of investing another $800 million into their Ahafo asset, and that will take their total production to about 20% of global production. So to have the largest gold company on the planet willing to have that kind of exposure to one country, I think speaks for itself in terms of what a great jurisdiction it is. In terms of where we're physically located, we're in the southwest corner of Ghana. You've got 2 prolific gold belts that run through Ghana. You've got the Ashanti belt as well as the Sefwi-Bibiani belt. We're on the Sefwi-Bibiani belt. Great neighbors along trend from us. So directly to the north of us, you've got Kinross's Chirano mine. It's 50 kilometers away. It has a historical endowment of 5.5 million ounces. To the north of that, you've got the Bibiani asset. And then, as I mentioned, one of Newmont's 2 producing mines in country, the Ahafo asset, which sits at a 15.5 million ounce endowment. So again, very large deposits along trend from us. In terms of our project and looking at it in a little bit more detail, again, Chirano sits just to the north of us, Bibiani to the north of that. We're very fortunate to have very good infrastructure at our Enchi project. We've got a paved road which runs right through the middle of our project with a power line that runs beside it to the town of Enchi. Enchi's got about 15,000 people, so it's got all the support services we could want in terms of pushing the project forward. It's got a hospital, a university campus. We can house all of our employees in the town of Enchi, but it also sits far enough away from our project, about 10 kilometers, as a crow flies that we don't anticipate any issues when it comes time to developing the project. Sitting about 5 kilometers outside of town, you've got our core shack. We've actually just completed the doubling in size of this core shack, given all of the successful drilling that we've been having. But I think this also really illustrates the great infrastructure that we have. Again, we've got this paved road, which you can drive 100 kilometers an hour along. There's a power station, gas station. You drive about 10 minutes along this dirt gravel road here. You're standing on top of our Boeing deposit. Another 10 minutes from there, you're standing on top of CUM. So having good infrastructure is one of the key things for pushing a project along. This is our Boeing deposit. As you can see here, very little population in this area. This is one of the drill pads that we've got sitting here. And then throughout our project, you've got these dirt and gravel roads, which kind of give you good access to all the different drill locations. So another real benefit for us. Sitting 5 kilometers away from our Boeing deposit, we're now sitting over top of or flying over top of our CUM deposit. Throughout Ghana and throughout West Africa and our project, you'll see a lot of these alluvial operations. These are locals who are obviously, putting the dirt through trench boxes and ultimately looking to get the gold dust that sits within those. We've also got a private mine sitting on our project, which has been in operation since World War I. They're operating on a very high grade vein underground. So again, I think this highlights the district scale operation and the very large gold system that sits at our Enchi project. In terms of the project itself, it is a very large land package. So we're looking at 216 square kilometers in size. From the northern end to the southern end, you're looking at about 40 kilometers of strike. We've identified 25 targets to date, of which we've currently only drilled on 6 of them, and 4 of them make up our current 1.4 million ounce resource. So lots of additional targets for us to go after and push the project forward. In June of 2021, we did put out an updated PEA. This was an update from a 2015 PEA that we had. This outlined very robust economics for our Enchi project. Looking at a $1,650 gold price, you're looking at an after-tax NPV of 212 million, after-tax IRR of 42%. And one of the things that really drives the economics here is the low CapEx of 97 million. We're looking at just under 1 million ounces of production, but the focus for us remains exploration. Our view is that with the additional 70,000 meters of drilling that was not included in this PEA, we can grow the overall size of the project and add to the robust economics that have already been laid out within this PEA. Looking at the project at an $1,850 gold price, we've got very good leverage to the gold price from that perspective. At $1,850, you're looking at an after-tax IRR of, after-tax NPV of 302 million, after-tax IRR of 54%. So very good leverage to the gold price for investors as well. We also put out an updated resource at the beginning of June as part of the PEA that we released. So we're currently sitting at 1.4 million ounces. If you look at all the historical RC and diamond drilling that feeds that resource, you're looking at 76,000 meters. So again, needless to say, our view is that the additional 70,000 meters of drilling that we're doing that was not included in this resource update should have a positive impact on our overall ounces. The other thing we always like to highlight as well is grade. Our project does outline a heap leach project, which typically, if you look at heap leach projects globally, you're more looking at a 0.4 to 0.5 gram per ton grade. So again, at 0.62 grams per ton, we've got a very robust heap leach grade here to push the project forward. But that being said, if you wanted to look at it at a different gold price, and potentially increase the cutoff to, let's say, 0.5 grams per ton, you're still looking at over 1 million ounces at roughly 1 gram per ton. So very robust resource from that perspective. In terms of the drilling that we're currently doing, 90,000 meters. This is the largest ever drill program on the project. It's a combination of both RC and diamond drilling. We have been focusing on our existing resource areas, Boeing, Sium, Niam, and Quachikrum, stepping out along strike, drilling up dip and down dip, looking to add ounces to all of those existing resource areas. We're also going back to some previously drill tested areas like Kojina Hill, Arati, and Sium Extension, with the goal of making additional discoveries at those areas and pushing them forward towards a resource over time. And then we're also very excited to be drilling some greenfields targets, some new areas for the first time ever, areas like Naquanta, Sium South, Tokasia, which have never been drilled before. I'll now just take you into the project and kind of walk you around and give you a bit more of a feel for our Enchi project. So what we're looking at here, again, here's the paved road that goes right through the project to the town of Enchi. What we've got here is we've got the main Bibiani shear, which runs to the west of us. We then get these second and third order splays that come through our project, and that's where the mineralization typically sits along the Sefwi-Bibiani belt, is these second and third order splays. If you look at the total strike length of those different shears going through our project, you're looking at about 100 kilometers of shearing. Sium is our largest deposit, sits at about 725,000 ounces. Followed by Boeing, Niam, and Quachikrum. We have been stepping out along strike at all of these different resource areas with the goal of looking to, again, expand the overall size of the resource areas. We've then been targeting new areas like Sium South, Tokasia, and then going back to areas like Arati, Kojina Hill, and Sium Extension, with the goal of adding more drill success at all of those different areas. I'll take you into the 3D models now of each of our resource areas, starting with our Sium deposit. It is our largest deposit, sits at 725,000 ounces. What you're going to see as I walk you through these models is these are the pits that currently constrain our 1.4 million ounces, or in the case of Sium, which constrain that 725,000 ounces. You're then going to see a bunch of the drilling that we've done that sits outside of the current pit constrained resource. This is where we think we will over time grow the overall size of our resource as we include those additional drill meters. Our second largest deposit is Boeing. It sits at just over 500,000 ounces, and I think this is a really good example of an area where we've done some significant drilling that now currently sits outside of these of the pit constrained resource. What we're looking at here at Boeing, this is a 2.8 kilometer pit constrained resource. We've now added about 400 meters of mineralized material to the north, about 1 kilometer of mineralized material to the south. So we've added a total of about 1.4 kilometers of mineralized material at Boeing, both on the southern end and the northern end, about 1.4 kilometers of mineralized material. So pretty easy to do the calculation on what the potential impact that could have on our overall resource. But the other thing we've been doing, and it's highlighted here, is we've been drilling up dip and down dip at all of these existing resource areas with the goal of ultimately growing the overall size of the pit. Good example of that would be sitting here in this hole number 236. What we're looking at here in this hole number 236, you can see the pit that was designed as part of the resource update that we did at the beginning of June, this hole number 236 was not included in that resource. We've then gone and hit, 0.9 grams over 69 meters, 1.24 grams over 5 meters. So our view is that this will ultimately end up, deepening and widening the overall size of the pit by capturing this additional material that was not included in previous resource updates. So that's something we're going to continue to focus on. This hole number 64 would be another good example of that. We're looking at this hole that did not exist when this original pit was designed. So our view is that it will ultimately widen and deepen the overall size of the resource in this area. The next two resource areas at our project are Nyam and Quachikrum. You've got Nyam, which sits here to the north. It's a 1.8 kilometer pit constrained resource at the moment. We've then got Quachikrum, which we put a maiden resource estimate out on at the beginning of June. We have now started to drill to the south and to the north of Nyam. We also just recently put out a bunch of mineralized holes to the north of Quachikrum. So our view is that both of these pits will grow to the north and to the south, and ultimately look to add mineralization in both of those areas. So in terms of our project and the systematic approach that we take from an exploration perspective, I think this is a good way to look at it. On the right-hand side here, we've got our 25 targets that we've identified across our project. And then when we look at this pyramid, at the top of the pyramid, we've got our 4 resource areas that make up the 1.4 million ounces. As I just highlighted within those 3D models, we are looking to grow the overall size of all of our existing deposit areas. We're then going back to these previously drill tested areas with the goal of, over time, moving them up the pyramid and into the resource category. We're then focusing on areas like Sium South, Tokasia. We've started to drill test those, get them into the drill tested category, and then over time look to add them to our overall resource with the goal of building this to a 3.5 million ounce plus resource. The last opportunity that I'll just talk to you about is the opportunity at depth. For the first time ever, as part of this 90,000 meter drill program, we've started to drill below 150 meters. And why that's important is when you look at a long section of our Enchi project, so looking at it from a side view, and compare that to a long section of Kinross's Chirano mine 50 kilometers to the north of us, and if we did the same at other greenstone hosted deposits along trend from us, what you see is that as you drill through the oxides and get into the sulfides, these deposits really start to grow in size and increase in grade. For the first time ever, as I mentioned, we've started to drill below 150 meters, and we've started to have some very encouraging results. If I take you back into the 3D model now, I'll just highlight a couple of those results that we've had. Back over here at Nyam, looking at this hole number 47 here, again, really nice oxide material near surface, but as we got down to kind of 150, 175 meters below surface, we've hit 5.8 grams over 7 meters, 2 grams over 25 meters. Sitting 100 meters away from that hole, we've got hole number 45, which again, if we look at this hole here, this is one of the deepest holes ever drilled here at Nyam. As we got down to about 175 meters below surface, we've hit 5.4 grams over 9 meters. When I now kind of spin this model around and we look at a bunch of the results we've had here, as you can see, we think we've started to identify where some of these higher grade feeder zones sit on our project. And that's what we're excited about from a deeper drilling perspective, is to look to continue to follow up on some of this drilling and look to chase that high grade to depth, similar to what we're seeing over at Chirano, 50 kilometers to the north of us. Moving now to Boyne, and I'll just touch on a couple of more high grade holes that we've had. This hole number 250, this is the highest grade intercept we've ever had on the project. 95 grams over 2 meters. Within that same hole, an additional 13 grams over 1 meter. This hole did not exist when we put out our resource. Similarly, here in this hole number 276, really good oxide material near surface, but as we got deeper, we hit 1 gram over 103 meters. Within that, 4 grams over 5 meters, 3 grams over 1 meter. So these are the kind of higher grade results that we will look to chase as we drill deeper. And then the last intercept, maybe I'll just touch on in the interest of time, is this hole number 64. Again, as we started to get into the sulfides, we've hit 1.28 grams over 74 meters, but within that, we're seeing almost 10 grams over 1.4 meters, 4 grams over 6 meters, 2.4 grams over 4 meters. These are the kind of high grade results that we're obviously going to follow up on and look to prove out across our project. So maybe just to recap in terms of key takeaways, Newcore's got a very strong management team with a proven track record of making shareholders money, who are truly aligned to our 27% ownership in the business. We've got a very strong capital structure and very well supported by deep-pocketed institutional investors, as well as the investment banking community. Ghana is a tier 1 gold jurisdiction for us to be operating in, and we've got a very good resource that we're currently building off of. We did put out a PEA in June of 2021, which outlined very robust economics for our project. But where we think we're going to create money for and value for shareholders is through the additional 70,000 meters as part of this 90,000 meter program that was not included in the resource update or PEA. So with that, again, I will highlight that we are very active on social media. So I'd encourage anyone listening to follow us on those different platforms, or visit our website and reach out directly if you have any questions. With that, Abbas, maybe I'll hand it back over to you if you've got any questions.